Well, howdy, folks. Hope you're doing well. It's a holiday weekend, so it's last minute here. Running behind as always because of the holiday. And we're going to try to have some fun tonight. It'll probably be a little bit abbreviated. Not many folks back from the weekend, but wanted to make sure that get you something. What's up, Steven? How are you? It's been an interesting couple of days. The LeSean McCoy signing has gone official. He's been to Arrowhead. He's made appearances. Looks like he's pretty giddy. My whole takeaway on both what he and Andy Reid had to say was that they're very happy to be back together. You know, you hear that song in the background, Reunited, and it feels so good and that kind of stuff. That's kind of what it feels like to me. And good for them. They should be. You know, they had a lot of success together, and I think that they can bring a lot of success to this team tonight, today, tomorrow, this season. I'm fixing the chat window here so I can see better. Give me just a second. And there we go. Okay. Great. Lots of you guys showing up. That's awesome. Melvin, how are you? Jerry, Test, Aaron, Cameron, 7-Eleven. Haven't seen you before. What's up? Big Shady guy, I take it, huh? Okay, cool. That's awesome. For those of you who care, tonight's beer, I know you've all seen it around, Tank 7 from back home. I am lucky enough that I do get it out here pretty regularly, so when I have a little fixin', I know I can go find some, so that's pretty fun. I actually spent the weekend out at the lake a little bit, and then brewing, made a double batch today. It's been a really long day. Made a pale ale this morning and made my wife a saison this afternoon. So 2 down, and I filmed the whole thing today. So I have some behind the scenes that will go up on a Total Brew Day, go up on the other channel there on the beer podcast coming up. Welcome back, everybody. I see everybody starting to join now. I wonder if folks just kind of thought maybe it wasn't going to go on tonight. Well, you know, I'm slow, but I get there. Sam, how are you? Matt, Scott, Jerry, Malik, how are you? 7-Eleven. Hey, welcome. I'm glad you made it. And you know what? We'll go down it because that's exactly the point, Anthony. Anthony Avila, does Shady have something left? I think he does. Something. It's not what he was, from my estimation. And everybody's been real keyed up about how he's done last season. And yeah, the Bills were terrible. And yeah, that doesn't help. It certainly didn't help him last season. But what I've done is look through what he's done this preseason and how he is now to my eye. And he just doesn't look as explosive as he has in years past. So, you know, it's a little give and take, not a big deal. Still quick, I think he still cuts very well. Probably as good, if not better, than anybody else that they had on the roster. So he's an upgrade there, even though his long speed, his explosive speed may not be there as we've seen in years past. But I definitely think that he rounds it out. I think he and Damien Williams are a 1-2 punch that can really, really get home now. And then you have Darwin and Darrel in the background. And she's put out their unofficial depth chart today. And it was Damien, LeSean, Darwin, Darrel. That's all right. My boy can be relegated to goal line stuff. I don't care. And I don't think Darrel will either. Here's the rub. I think LeSean's a nice addition. They got him at a good price for the veteran that he is. He knows Andy's system. He knows Andy. He can bring a lot to the table. And it was a signing of opportunity. It was because they let him go. I mean, they chose to keep Frank Gore over Shady, which I think is a stretch. I do like the rookie they got out there in Buffalo, though. So I will say that's okay. But got him cheap. He can come through for them and really play a role. And if he doesn't, if he is just a backup for the bulk of the season, great, no problem. But it's because he was available. It was a signing of opportunity. I know a lot of folks are frustrated and worried about the cornerback situation. I don't know why I still have these on. We just recorded the podcast, so that's why we were running late. The cornerbacks are still a problem. Yes, absolutely. I, for one, have been really adamant about what they are and are not, and they are not a top flight group. So yeah, that's a problem. But here's the thing is Shady was available, corners or not. And squeezing a starting caliber corner away from somebody is cost prohibitive. Like, they know they have you over barrel, so they're going to hold out for whatever price they want. It's going to be ridiculous, and they usually get it. So that's the problem that the Chiefs are in right now is having to pay the prices that people are asking for starting caliber corners. So I think something's in the works. Everything that I hear from people who know, something, calls are being made, things are being discussed. Just no idea if there's any traction on anything yet. So that's where it sits right now. Matt, you're absolutely right. Sam, I'm doing pretty good. I'm a little tired, but I'll be all right. I'm just going to jump into the questions tonight, guys, and we'll just see how long-winded we have to get. Larry, hello to Arkansas. Cameron Corwin, I'm so scared of the corners. Yeah, I get it. And they listed today the depth chart. They listed 2 linebackers as starting, Wilson and Hitchens. And they listed 2 linebackers so they could list 3 cornerbacks as starters. And so you know who the 3 are. And then you saw behind it Rashad Benton's name. 1, 2, 3. He's the only backup. And they're going to rely on the safeties for a while. And they feel they can get away with that. And they probably can once a bit in a blue moon. You can't walk them out there every time they go spread, which I think if they're smart, they're going to try to do just to kind of keep up with the Chiefs' offense for one thing. But, it's going to be a little bit iffy here for the next week. I think they probably get something done in finding someone to trade with next week when salaries are no longer guaranteed for vets and that kind of thing. I think there's going to be a little bit of movement. I think something will spring loose. We'll just have to keep our eyes open. Let's see here. Yeah, Josh, you're right. Low risk, high reward. That's a good way to put it. Yep. Fell packing. I'm with you there. Kurt, I hope you're absolutely right. Kyrie, Shady took 25 from Darwin Thompson because that's his number. Thompson went to 34 that Hyde had earlier. Another change today. Tremont Smith isn't a running back anymore, evidently. They put him back at 39 and called him a corner. So, hey, whatever it is. The guy's a kick returner. He's not going to play anywhere outside of that, I don't think. I just can't see it. He didn't take to offense very well. He can't play corner very well. So I just don't see it in the future. Oh, man. The curious case of Tremont Smith. Jerry Cole, how are you, pal? What do you think about Darwin giving up his number after calling JC about wearing the number? It's a respect thing. I think if he had respect for Charles to call him or tweet him or whatever he did, and I did see it, I just don't remember what the format was. He clearly has respect for McCoy, and he should. I think Jamal would agree with that he should have respect for McCoy for what he's done, the back that he has been, and the back that he still is. So I don't have any problem with it whatsoever. Quite frankly, I don't like seeing anybody wear 25 but Jamal Charles. So, I get it because Shady McCoy has earned it because he's worn it before, but I still don't like it. That's just me. Let's see. Brad Sexton, do you think they're looking for a corner? Absolutely. And I have heard from multiple people around the league that say they have made phone calls. They are in discussions. They are looking for something. Whether they get something done, I just don't know. Yeah. Steven, yep, that's exactly where I was going. Anthony, you're right. They are really stacked at running back. They could move somebody at this point. I don't want to see Darrel go, but he would be the one that they look to move. Mr. AG. I don't remember your tag, so welcome. Oh, and by the way, if anybody wants to donate or whatever, or wants to get more lights, or I don't know what you guys think about this stuff. I'm trying new things because everybody was like that the pre-recorded videos look better. So I'm trying to use some of the other lighting. And this is the lights, the software, everything that I do comes from your donations. That helps me do all that. So thank you very much. If you want to do it, Super Chat's open. It's at the bottom, little $. If you do make a donation, please ask a question so I can make sure I get you something for tonight. Let's see. Will McCoy mentor Thompson? Scott May's a good question. I think he probably will. I think he'll mentor everybody, to tell you the truth, because he's got that kind of reputation and he's got that kind of experience. He's got plenty to share. not just by example. And that's what I said a couple of days ago when I wasn't sure if he was really going to be a guy that could contribute on the field. Like I said, one big play this preseason, not a ton on there. But I think he is exactly that. He can be a mentor. So I look forward to that. And I think he's open to doing it as well. I think he's here to win a Super Bowl and to be with Andy again. And I think that goes a long way for anything that they might ask him to do. Let's see. Do you have any insights other than being at Arrowhead, how you can get your hands on red pale ale beer? I don't. That's the only way that I know, Mr. AG. And I haven't even had it yet. It's brewed by Golden Road, which is owned by Budweiser, and that's why. And I think it's ridiculous with all the good breweries in Kansas City to have one brew it in California just to bring it back to Arrowhead. But it's because they're owned by Bud, and the Chiefs have the deal with the Bud, and that's why. It's ridiculous, but, give somebody else a chance. Anthony Bowles. The D coordinator came out and said that Ramsey's covering Ty all game. Yeah, we talked about that on the pod today. It's going to be interesting. Good luck, Jalen. I think it's ridiculous why you would even give that away in the first point. If that's truly your game plan, maybe it's just all smoke and mirrors and he's just trying to throw him off, but not like it matters. I'm not worried about it. Do you think they will just be him or will they also cover him with the safety? They'll definitely bracket him high with one of the safeties. The issue is going to be, are they going to start sending Watkins and Hardman on deeps as well? Because then it puts them in such a bind, having to cover all three of those guys deep that can accelerate past any of their DBs. That's going to be fun. Let's see. Who's next? Solid Shepherd, not Chiefs related, but are you aware of the audio skipping issues on the Locked On podcast? I made a comment on the video earlier about it. No, I didn't see that. That's probably a playback issue because the videos come from the iTunes feed. That might be an import issue, but I'll have a look at it. Sorry I missed your comment. There's so many comments on both the channels, I can't keep up with it all anymore. And so I try to make sure that I answer all the comments on RGR Football, and sometimes the guys will help me with some of the comments on the other one, but really, Chris and Seth are not involved with RGR on either channel. It's just me trying to get it to you guys that are YouTube only and not podcast people. So it's really just me. I'm a one-man show. I apologize for that, Solid. Chris Medina, new to the podcast. Okay, welcome. Hope you're doing good. Picked up a bunch of Chiefs on my fantasy because of their explosive team. Yes. Hey, well, thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. Or Christopher, sorry. I always shorten people's names. Don't mean to cause offense. Scott answered yours. Great. Kyrie, they don't have to cut anyone. It was Henny went to IR. So that's really the slot. They are at 53 today. They also cut Jerry Ocho in order to bring back Jeff Allen. Ocho is a guy to keep an eye on, though. Both Matt, Derek, and I feel like he could be back on the roster in a week because of the rigmarole where you can sign veterans. And if you sign them after week 1, so as soon as week 2 starts, their contracts are no longer guaranteed. So that makes it easier on the team. Let's see. Okay. Got that one. Scott Bansker. CB got to be shored up soon, right? I hope so. Is it part of the delay in thinking that Thornhill and Matthew could play in a pinch? Yeah, that's exactly it. I don't recommend it, but that's what they're thinking. Hopefully it won't be too much. 5 safeties on D, temporary. They like that, and they like to have 5 and 5, and maybe they'll mess around from there. But I think they like all those guys, all the safeties. And right now they're using the safety as the crutch for the corners. So that tells you how much they like the safeties. That was a good question. That was Jerry Pratt, for those of you who didn't hear. Stephen Taylor, first off, love the McCoy pickup because he won't have to be the bell cow. That's a very good point. He'll have fresh legs, or at least share, And another note, what do you make of the CB depth? Yes, I'm totally concerned. They're going to get picked on. They're going to run rub routes all over Kendall Fuller and try to get him shook loose. Westbrook in Jacksonville scares me for that because they are pretty effective at getting him loose. Let's see. Yeah, Josh Hobbs, good point. They should get it to him in space. That'll be the way to do it. Travis Hudson, is there a chance that he carves out a more specific role for Darwin that can be even more effective in? I don't know. I think Darwin's going to learn from both of them. And Darwin's a well-rounded guy. I don't think you can really pigeonhole him into one role. Like Darrel, you can use for short yardage because he's the biggest guy. He's a guy who can cram through gaps. Everybody else is smaller scat type, right? So I don't think Darwin's going to have a specific role. That's just my thought. But let's see. Oh, something just happened and I lost where I was. Okay, there's that. Okay, here we go. Aaron Morrow, I assume we can keep everyone fresh bikes. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see everybody get carries. Honestly, all 4 of them I'd like to see get a series each game. Try to take the load off the guys that are running in the lead. I'm totally for that. Guys, if you're asking the question, try to remember, put the question marks at the beginning of the sentence. It really helps me pick them out of the chat. Doug Spratley. What's your take on the CB sign of the practice squad? Are they stopgap insurance just to keep from wearing out the other 4 starters? No, they can't play. The practice squad, they can only practice. So they're no help to you on Sundays at all. They are guys that they saw that were better developmental players than Herb Miller was. That's basically what it comes down to. Herb Miller and DeMontre Wade were thought to be coming back to the practice squad so they could continue to develop, but then the Chiefs decided to sign those 2 guys. I don't know anything about them. I haven't had a chance to research because it's a holiday and I haven't really been digging into anything. But that tells you that they like what they saw from them. Good question, Doug. Robert Bird, any chance of Xavier Howard? No, he's one of the guys that I'm talking about. The price is just too big. Maybe in a week or two if they come off their price, but right now, tonight, I don't expect that to happen. They have to have like a meeting of the minds, a meet in the middle for the cost. That's going to be the problem. Brett Veach does not want to give up another number 1 round draft pick. He wants to have his ones, especially knowing that they're going to be picking in the 30s. That's the way. So I don't see them doing that. Anthony, another one. Do you think the Texans got better trades they made yesterday, even if they did let Clowney go? I mean, no, they gave up a ton for Laramie Tunsil, and I don't think he's that good. 2 number 1s and a 2 for him and Stills, I think is ridiculous. I think it's a symptom of no one being in charge in Houston. I wish the Chiefs could have gotten something that was useful for them, but they don't need left tackle. They don't need another wideout. They needed corners, and I don't think that the Texans had enough to spare. Scott Mesa. Sorry. The Honey Badger only played a few games. Will he be explosive now or when Claiborne comes back? He'll be explosive now. Tyrann Mathieu is going to make a lot of plays. I think his interception possibilities will go up once Claiborne's back because then he can really concentrate instead of trying to back up younger guys that may be a little more suspect. Should I start Shady or Tariq Cohen in fantasy football? Big test. I don't know what Tariq Cohen's situation is. I have not been paying attention to him. I don't think Shady's going to start this week. They said Damien Williams is going to start, but he should see the field a little bit. So you never know about what he's going to do. I think I'd probably go with Cohen if he's a starter. I haven't paid attention to him. Aaron, how is Tremont Smith still on the roster? They love his kick return ability. That's it. Dave Tobe feels that Tremont Smith is one of the best kick returners in the league, if not the best. That's why. Now, having Dat helps you in more ways. He can play wide out and do a very good job in the kick return, almost as good as Smith. So I think that change is coming. Sorry, guys. I'm drinking a little bit more than normal. It's been a long couple of days. Let's see. Streamer Gods. What do you... this scroll is killing me tonight, you guys. What do you think about trading DeMarcus Robinson in a 4th rounder to the Texans for Jonathan Joseph? The Texans need a solid number 3, and Fuller gets hurt, and we need a number 2. Yeah, I mean, again, it's just the price. I don't think they're willing to let it go. I mean, Jonathan Joseph plays for them. If he wasn't going to play, then it'd be one thing, but I don't think they're going to let him go. So, Stephen Taylor, thanks for your donation. Appreciate it. Sorry, guys, I'm getting caught up here as we get rolling. 200 people on a Monday night after a holiday. That's awesome. Thanks for spreading the word. How long before Thornhill takes Sorensen's job? I think Thornhill starts this week. I think Dan will be out there as the third. I mean, they might even come out and play the first play, all of them together, but I think Thornhill starts. So, Steven, I don't think you have to worry about it. Dan is going to be the third safety, and he's going to allow them to play Matthew in a robber role and play Thornhill at the back, unless Thornhill shows that he isn't progressing anymore. If he gets caught out a bunch, then we'll talk. I don't know. But I have confidence in Thornhill. I don't think that's going to happen. Kevin Pippin. Do you think that Dat will see more reps this year than he has throughout his career with the Chiefs? Not necessarily, but I think he's there in case they need him to. And I think that's the big deal. Good question. Jerome, do you think they're purposely going to all out on offense to deal with how bad the defense is going to be? Yeah, it's compensation partially. Preston Rock, hello to Salt Lake. Nice to see you. Samir Mika, nice to see you again. Is Herb a free agent? Yes, I have not seen Herb Miller sign yet. So he is still out there. I know that the Chiefs were talking about bringing him back. So that might have cooled off some of the talk with other teams. And then the practice squad's kind of filled up. So he might be in limbo here this week. But I think that you'll also see more moves coming in the next week or two. So I think he'll land on a practice squad. I thought he did pretty good. It shows you that relatively, yeah, he was the fourth best corner probably, right? But compared to other teams, it's just not good enough. So that tells you where the overall condition of the corners is. Let's see. Stark Daylight. Xavier Howard, he could do it, but he'd have to sell the farm again. He'd have to give up probably a number one, and I know he doesn't want to do that. So I don't think it's happening. If they come off that price, and if he can do it for number two, I think he might. Jerry Pratt, thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. You're awesome back. I appreciate the help. Nice donation. And Samir, thanks for yours as well. Anthony Avila, do I like Shaggy Shane? I've never met Shaggy, or I'm Shane. Sorry. I know his channel does pretty good. I know he's got his shtick. I think it's great. I like to see more YouTubers that are Chiefs oriented, so it's great between him and Brit Chief and Sean. I know there's a bunch of others that are not as consistent, but they're there, and I think that's great. I think the community has to grow. And I think we can all help each other out. Let's see. Is Will Shields 68 retired? I don't think so, but I don't know off the top of my head. Sorry. Metal Rocker X, not sure if you were going to be doing this. McCoy signing. Yeah, I talked about that pretty early on. I think McCoy can help. I think he's way better than Hyde. I think they got him for a good deal, and I think he'll help the young kids. Thanks for getting on here, though, Metal. Jason King, I bet McCoy will have a year that nobody thinks he can have. Most people just don't want to play their best football for a sorry team. Motivation goes a long way. That's a good point. And knowing that there are other talented backs there, too, allows him to not have to be that grinder that has to deal with all the early downs and the blitz packages, and there's enough on this offense that's going to keep him loose. So I agree with you. I think he could have a big year, especially you won't see it early because he's been kind of grinding because it's camp and all that. But if he only gets, 4 or 5 touches, 8 touches a game as he's working in with Damien Williams, come week 6, 8, 10, then you're going to see him start to really take off. And I think that can really be exciting down the stretch for the Chiefs. Deldrick, how are you? Deldrick Smith, from linebacker to secondary, how do you think that they do? I'm happy with the linebackers on first and second down. I'm concerned on third down. I'm just not sure how they're going to play it. I feel like they're still searching. Can they run Hitchens and Wilson? Can they run Wilson and Lee? I like what they did with Reggie at Sam. I told you guys months ago about Reggie can rush the passer, both from an inside off-ball linebacker as well as an outside, like up on the line of scrimmage linebacker. And I like that for him, but it's the coverage aspect. I thought Lee was going to be better than he is, so I'm not 100%, but I'm more happy with Wilson than I expected to be. So, let's see how they do. They're putting everything on Hitchens. He's the one guy that I don't see coming off the field very much. So let's keep a close eye on him. Wallace Stone, no worries, man. Everybody was late. I was late, so that's what happens. I've heard McCoy is the starter. No, he is not. He's listed number 2 on the depth chart. Dottie Couch, thanks for your donation, pal. Appreciate it. And all the tweeting and retweets. We're not. Oh, I must have missed something in the chat. Yeah, we're not trading Chris Jones. The Chiefs are not parting with him. Next year's a different story, but this season, Oh, Gary Holland, good to see you too as well. Let's see. Okay, Aaron, are you going to have guests at some point on the Friday, Wednesday shows? That's a tough one. I live up in the mountains in Colorado, and there's no one here to really record with. I'm trying to do some telecommuting where we kind of share the screens, but it's problematic. My internet isn't the greatest. I'm waiting on an upgrade. That will improve this stream. But in order to do those, I have to have good back and forth. So I just don't have the capability right now. What I'm going to try to do is that there's a bar in Kansas. There's a Chiefs bar in Denver that I might try to go to a game or two there and get some folks. But no, guests are going to be reserved probably for the beer podcast because I know a bunch of brewers in Colorado, a bunch of people beer related. Those I'll be able to have guests on. There's just not many Chiefs commentators or analysts out here, so it is what it is. Let's see. Good question, Aaron. Appreciate it. Scott Meza, will this be Fuller's impact year to shine or be traded next year? No, he's a free agent after this season, so he better shine if he wants to get a contract here or anywhere else. I think he is going to play well. I know he played poorly early, and he looked bad against the Chiefs speed receivers, but I thought he came on against other teams. I think he's going to be okay. If they end up playing as much zone as I think they're going to, I think he's going to be just fine. If not, have another good year. Scott, Anthony, all I watch is you and Shane. Oh, rock on. Thanks, man. Dale Moore, if the linebacker crew basically like the RBs by committee, so to speak, according to the situation by down. Yeah, that's really it. And they're still fumbling for how they're going to combine them. Who's going to play on what down with who? And that's really what they're going to kind of either they've really been sneaky and didn't want to show it and they've had it all along, or they're still looking for how to pair guys up. I think in the end, you're looking at probably Wilson and Lee is probably going to be your nickel, but they want to keep Hitch on the field. I just don't think Hitch has the speed. That's why they started him at will, and now he's back at Mike because he doesn't have the side-to-side speed. And Reggie can do the same because he's mostly playing forward. And I think I told you guys last year, he made a couple of plays in the pass game late. He intercepted Tom Brady in the championship game. Nobody remembers that. But Reggie Ragland can play. He's just better playing forward than dropping into coverage. So it'll just be mix and match on how you guys go. Let's see. Do you think Breeland will be a starting DB? He definitely is. Classic Beats. Breeland is the starting left corner. Michael Ford, has anyone looked at the former Raiders, Luke Wilson? And that's one that I looked at too. And I know he's been on Hard Knocks, so everybody's got his name on the back of their mind. But he's been effective over the years. So, I think they're happy with Yelder and Bell is what it is. And Yelder is healthy. He's practicing. So, he came all the way back. So I think that's probably what they're happy about. Next question. Scott Meza, does Clark have a year like Ford did last year? I think he can. Frank's game is a little bit less explosion and a little bit more power. So it's a little more dependent on where they line him up. But I think Spags is going to do the NASCAR thing. I think Spags is going to move him around, and I think that's going to definitely help him. Let's see. Okay, David Nigel, game venue if hurricane affects Jacksonville. I don't think anybody's playing in the Gator Bowl, but that's still in Florida. I would look at where the Falcons are because that's pretty close. But again, might be damaged. I don't think they're going to move it back to Arrowhead. I know I've seen some of those rumors. That's just a logistical nightmare, and I just don't know that it can happen. So I'll be interested to see, though. Just cross your fingers for everybody in Florida. It kicked the crap out of the Bahamas, so let's hope it doesn't happen to Floridians. Marshall Smith, will Dak be returning kicks if we don't keep Tremont? Yeah, that's what he's for. That is primarily to be a gunner on punts and be a returner on punt returns. And honestly, they get him back next week, despite the 1 week suspension. That might happen soon. Tremont Smith may be a 1 week guy on this roster. I don't know. Stephen Taylor, what realistic quality CBs? Oh, thank you for your donation first. And this is your question. What realistic quality CBs would be able to get out there if we're looking for trades? Free agent's nothing. They've gone over the bin. There's nothing there. And what would you give up to get a CB like that? I would give up a second round pick. Looking at it now, if they can get through those first 4 weeks, I would send a second round pick for Pat Peterson still. I would probably not do it for Xavier Howard. I would do it for Xavier Rhodes. I would not do it for. If it were me, if I was just trying to figure something out, I would be trying to pry Kevin King away from the Packers. That's what I would be calling about. Long, tall, zone guy. Elite. He would be incredible in this defense. But he's young. He's cheap. They're not going to part with him. So it's a long shot, bud. Daniel Riddick, thanks for your donation. Come back and ask a question, though, man. I want you to get something for it. Who's next? Metal Rocker, how many looks do you think Kelsey will get this year? Have they settled on a tight end too? I think they're happy with Bell, and they're hoping Yelder can develop to be better than Bell. And I think Kelsey's going to get plenty of looks. It's still going to go, in my mind, Hill, Kelsey, Watkins is the order in terms of who's going to get the most looks. Dana Rick. Okay, there you are. Good. I'm glad you did that. Other than Ramsey shadowing Hill, who's in his contract year, so we're going to get his best. Who do you think will match up with Hardman? I don't know, man. I don't know their backfield very well yet. Like, that's what I'm going to do in the next couple of days is go through their roster and their film from this preseason. I don't think it matters, to tell you the truth. The question is going to be, are they going to bracket Ty and bracket Mecole? I like that concept because then Sammy and Kelsey are singled up. That's beautiful. Or are they going to roll and say, we're not worried about the rookie, and then Mecole Hardman has to actually attack the defense and get something done? I'm hopeful for that as well. Dr. Sanitary, what's up, bud? Glad you made it. Do you guys have analytics about the LOC pod? Yeah, we do. Because I have to imagine you guys are one of the most listened to. Yeah. I don't like to boast about it because, again, the more podcasts about the Chiefs, the better for everybody, right? But we are the most listened to. We are the biggest Chiefs podcast that's out there. We do, according to my information, we do more than twice the traffic of any other podcast that's about the Chiefs specifically. Now, general NFL ones, obviously not. There's just too many listeners, but we continue to grow because of folks like you, from folks spreading the word. And honestly, because there's a lot to talk about. It's an exciting team and it's great. So yeah, we do have it. And we're proud of that. We work our butts off on it. I'll tell you that. Between that and this channel, yeah, it's a significant chunk of effort and time away from the family and everything else. So I appreciate you guys spending time with me, and I appreciate you guys, bringing that up. Thanks. And your second question, do you think Shady still scares defenses? I think they do. I think they have a healthy respect for him. Maybe it's not fear as much anymore, but definitely respect. And honestly, I don't know that the two make that big of a difference. So what I really want to see is Damien and Shady out there together. Oh, Andrews football. I hope you're right. I did not see that in the initial cutdowns. I have not checked in the last day, though. Okay. I'm going to go find out that for absolutely certain right now. I know he had been dealing with an injury. If he's out there, then he should be in Kansas City next week. That's Kevin King we're talking about. Jeff Porter. Do you like the over of 10.5 wins for KC? Yes. I put them at 14 when we did the roster, the schedule release review. And I see no reason that can't happen. I think the defense is better in a number of ways. And I think the offense has more weapons. So, yes, there's game planning and there's always coaching. As long as they don't get hurt, I don't see there's any reason that they can't win 14 games. Aaron Morrow, have you been able to do any research on Mankins, and what do you think? I assume he is depth this year, but what do you think he can do in the future? He's definitely depth this year. He is the swing tackle behind the two tackles. And even more so, I watched 60 or so snaps of him in Texas. I know more about him coming out, and he was a good athlete on film, never tested. So I don't have his matrix. I wasn't able to produce anything because he never tested. But for a guy his size, he leaps well. He's strong and explosive for a lineman. Well above average in the vertical and the long jump, which are the only two tests he did prior to the draft. And I like that. I don't think he's developed very far yet, to tell you the truth. He's still got his feet look sluggish to me in Texas, and that's a function of coaching. I expect that Andy Heck and Andy Reid, and Andy Reid does still have some impact on the offensive line, guys. He does stick his head in there and offer stuff. So, but Andy Heck is good at making the most of the athleticism of his linemen, and I think that will come along. I don't expect much of him this year. I expect him to be the swing. He might be the swing next year too, but I think in the longevity of the tackles, he's an option. If he can develop like we've seen Fisher develop, I think he's a guy that could eventually replace him. Good question. Who's next? Andrew Hunter. Does Mecole Hardman score more TDs than Sammy Watkins? That's a really good question, and I'm going to say no, but I think it's going to be close. I want to say 6 and 8 for Watkins, or 5 and 7, something like that. Justin Seymour, if our offense is again one of the highest scoring in the NFL, wouldn't you assume our defense will be 20 to 32 simply based on how long they'll be on the field? You can suggest that, but also if the defense is able to win on third down, that's the biggest thing that they screwed up last year. It's not being able to win on third down. If they can do that, you're still getting the ball back in the hands of the offense, so the offense can score more. So the two don't necessarily equate to each other. There are different ways around it. So I'm feeling the top for this. I think the optimistic ranking for this team might be in the 15 range, but certainly low 20s is my guess, and I think that is enough. Scott Meza, did Cody Thompson make the practice squad? Yes, he is on it. So is Jody Fortson, and I actually got to break that one thanks to the interview that Jody did on the Locked On Chiefs podcast earlier. Next, Scott Mann, why no buzz about Okafor and all the double team that's going to happen? And Frank, believe me, I've been saying the same thing. I think this could be a career year for Okafor because of Frank Clark and Chris Jones. And I think just people aren't putting it together yet. We'll see what the game plans come out to. When Jacksonville doubles both those guys and the other guys are on their own, I think you're going to see some positive signs. Kevin Pippen, do you think the sausage will have a more significant role this season? I would love to say so, but I don't think so. I think he'll have a couple of big spark plays, and I think he's just going to be super solid on special teams. And when they got to cram it down somebody's throat, that's when he comes in. I would love to see him have a much bigger role, but I just don't think it's in the cards with Andy Reid. Andy Anderson, how are you, pal? Okay, looks like we're winding down, folks, and that's cool. We don't need to go an hour tonight. It's a holiday. My wife's cooking upstairs, and I'm hungry, so might have to do that. Let's see. Who's got questions? Oh, Casino said Kevin King did not get cut. Okay, that was my expectation. I'll double check, and I'll let you guys know next week. Rich, you just subscribed. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. I think you were talking to me. Austin Haw, how do you make the current CB group and the CBs added to the practice squad? The practice squad guys are developmental. I think that the Chiefs feel like they were better or further along than Miller and Wade. So I think that's just where it is. They cannot help us yet. The Chiefs still need another corner. I'd love to see them trade for somebody good, but yeah, cost hurts. Pyruvate. Why is everyone big on Pringle? I am rooting for him, but I haven't seen anything from him in this preseason. Honestly, he had a better preseason last year. I don't know what happened. But I do feel like he has the upside. He has the speed, the ability to cut. He has decent hands. I think he just got lost in some of the stuff with Hardman. But I do think Hardman and Pringle might be the future of this team after Hill and Watkins retire. You know, you forget that Tyreek Hill 4 years into his contract already. You know what I mean? It's more progressed than I even realized. Ray Booth, didn't realize you were doing this tonight. No, hey, sorry. I sent out late notice. I'm running behind. No big deal, man. I'm not sure if you entered this, but do you think McCoy will have 25? He does have 25. Thompson went to 34. Scott Mason, do you see Ragland being more of an impact than Hitchens? Not necessarily. I think he'll have bigger plays because I think he's going to be closer to the line of scrimmage and may hit the quarterback more. But I think Hitchens is going to be solid. I think Hitchens is going to be attacking. I think he's going to be better against the run than he was last year. And that's all. That's all that I care about. Rock 3036. Are you concerned with the defense concerning how they looked in the preseason? No, I don't think the preseason really meant anything. I'm a little concerned about the linebacker and coverage, but I've been that concerned since they decided to keep Hitch and bring in Lee. So I want to see more. Thoughts on Dr. Sanitary? It's 43. Thank you, sir. Good point. I forgot about this. So the Jags signed Chase Litton this week, and he wants to know thoughts on it. I think they're mining his brain for information. And for him, he got cut, and so now he's a Jaguar. He needs to help him. So he's going to give him the information. He's going to give him whatever he knows, and I think that's going to be interesting. I just hope that he gets rewarded by actually staying on the team. So, Ray Booth didn't realize. Oh no, same question. Daniel Riddick, Ryan, do you think there's a better Mike position, Reggie or Hitch? Oof. I think Hitch covers more ground, but I like Reggie as he's better in the take on. Reggie can stuff runs better. It's flavor, man. If it was Rex Ryan, Reggie would be your Mike backer, and he'd be crushing everybody every down, right into the A gap, over and over and over and over and over. So that'd be my choice. Good question, Daniel. Ray Booth, will Darwin give up 25? He already did. Yep, that's done. Cameron Corwin, will we have the best year as a corner on the team? Who will have the best year as a corner on the team? I think it's underrated. I think Bashaud Breeland might fool you guys. I think he's really, really improving. And in zone, I think he's going to be a monster. Who else? Carlos, how are you? Who would be the top CB trade candidate? Oof. Man, there's almost no one out there. I don't even know. It's really about picking who you want. I mentioned King. Really, if you want a veteran and you want to try to give somebody some cap relief, go get Marcus Trufant. Go on. Why not? Let's see. Kyrie, same question. Aaron, what do you think about the Horseface only keeping one QB? I think he's out of his mind. I am shocked every year more and more so how an elite quarterback as a player cannot evaluate quarterbacks as other players. So I got nothing, man. 7-11, will Sean have more touchdowns than Darwin? Definitely. Will Juan Thornhill have a big year? I think that he will. He might be a slow start, but I think he'll come on. Who's your starting LBs on Sunday? If they come out in the nickel, Scott, it's going to be Hitch and Wilson. If they come out in 3, Ragland will join them. Desmond Trufant. Yes, Vampa, you're right. Sorry, I get confused with all the brothers. Man, I can't keep up. Yeah, Marcus was the oldest, I think. I don't know. It's been a while. Thanks for pointing that out, though, Vampa. And that looks like it. So it's 45 minutes. I think we're good, guys. I'm going to go eat some dinner. I hope that you enjoyed your holiday weekend. Thanks for being here tonight on short notice. Evidently, I did this kind of bad tonight. So we'll be back with some pre-recorded videos this week. No problem. We'll regroup next Monday night for lives just like this. It's week 1. It's real football. I hope you guys are as excited as I am. So thanks for all your donations tonight. Thanks for hanging out. And I'm excited. It's going to be a good week. Check out the podcast. You guys are awesome. And I'll see you next time.